Some years ago, a good mentor and one of my favorite professors, Mr. Moore, said that happiness comes from control. Control. That is the most important thing in your life. If you can consider what you want to get done, if you can consider the things you want to get done in your life consistently and get to a point that you can get those things done consistently, you will be a happier person. And that can come down to anything, right? Like what you do for fun, who you hang out with, how you work. Everything boils down to our ability to actualize what is in our brain, what is in our souls, to a degree. And I say this because I'm going through some change currently, and I think people have a tendency to think to themselves that when life around them is changing, that they cannot uphold the standards that they set for themselves. In Living and Dying with Grace, the counsels of Hazrat Ali, he said that in times of unrest, be like a suckling calf with no udder to be milked and no back to be ridden. I agree with that, obviously, because I respect the guy, but that means that when you're going through something very difficult, something tasking in your life, that you should concentrate on that task and spend the most possible energy trying to resolve the conflict altogether. And don't give too much energy thinking about how much you can do for other people until that discrepancy is solved. Sure. Do I think that that is the case in life all the time? Do I think that you're always putting out fires? Very unlikely, no. Unless you set yourself up poorly for the future. But most of the time, you're going to be in a pretty comfortable spot if you thought about it enough. If you have the luxury of being there, then that's the type of control that I'm talking about. If you don't, well, set yourself up for the future. Make some decisions now. Control your actions so that you can get into a position where you are comfortable and not putting out fires all the time. That's what the people that I respect do, and that's what I intend to do in my life. But control is so important, man. Woman, them. I made a video recently about the importance of meditation, which to me requires some amount of control to kind of go and start it up, but the actual process is actually losing control in a sense of not really demanding that your psychology, that your presence be even in the universe for the moments that you're actually meditating. But the actual act of sitting down, thinking to yourself, I'm going to lose control, that's important. That in itself is something that requires routine, something that requires you to actually put in some energy, you know, curating that experience for yourself. But the dividends of doing something like that, the dividends of going and making cool opportunities for you and your friends to dwell in, or accomplishing tasks that you don't necessarily have to by society's standards, you know, the dividends for all of that is self-confidence. It's self-confidence. It's the ability to love yourself because you are doing the things that you want to do, right? It's the ability to uplift other people because you have uplifted yourself. You have bred an inside motivation, internal locus of control to accomplish the things that you want to in your life. Thus, you believe that human beings in general can actually do that, right? If we don't see examples of this in our own life, if we're not the example, it's very difficult to understand what it takes to do that thing. For instance, if we don't have a bunch of money, or if we don't have a bunch of friends, we're going to assume that it's very difficult to make friends and very difficult to get money. That's just how we are. We think that our entire universe is contrived of facts, is facts that everyone deals with, constants that are that are in everyone's life. When I make these videos, you know, I can only really talk about my life experience and the variables that are consistent, the control, the genes, whatever it is, right? Those things I assume that my viewers are also dealing with. Is that rational? What else can we do? Right? Having that, curating a life that is worth living requires us to have certain constants, requires us to believe that we actually know something, which is a phenomenal road to go down, because that confidence actually gives you the ability to build that life. So do it. But to give yourself confidence, we need to have control. We need to have the ability to actualize the things that we want to get done. When we rack up the achievements, when we rack up enough examples, enough data that proves to us that not only can we think about something, we can execute it, we become happier, necessarily. And I've seen this firsthand. I've seen this with people that have fundamentally changed their lives in 6 months just by virtue of literally setting independent goals over a course of a day. Atomic Habits. Go read that book, James Clear. It'll change your life. Straight up. It'll change your life drastically. Because the funny part is most of society doesn't even have that ability to control themselves. We're such heavily emotional creatures, for a good reason probably. For the ultimate reason probably. But our society, our progress demands logic. It demands a sense of right and wrong. It demands a sense of experience, data derived from the past. And a life without control, well, that's called hedonism. That's what we associate in religion to being a devil. That's what we associate in real life as being potentially psychologically unstable. Right? Like, we don't really look up to very many people that don't have very much control in their life. So that's why, those are just some reasons why, if you're lacking control in your life, in any capacity, if you are making excuses, if we are considering to ourselves that we're not as great as we have the potential to be, we will propagate this type of thought in society. We will propagate this type of thought in our families. And just by virtue of subconsciously even believing this, we will deprive ourselves of living the happiest, most wonderful life that we can. So try to go out and get it. Try to find people that have this control thing. And ask them some questions. Be like, what the hell do you do to establish this? You know, what in the world do you think about? Who do you listen to? What inspires you for you to just sit down for 40 minutes a day and do absolutely nothing but think? Or go to the gym, or go and get a graduate degree, or make a business, or whatever it is. Go and find those people and ask them. And get some of that fruit, get some of that knowledge for yourself. I have a bunch of videos that talk about how I got some control in my life. I hope that over the years it'll build up into something spectacular. In fact, I know it to a degree. So if you're curious about any of those, you know, you're more than welcome to check them out. And if you have any questions about this control thing in your life, particularly in your life, because it's a very individual situation. It's very, it's curated. Our lives are curated. It's incredible to be grateful for such things. It's incredible to sit around and experience such things, as being aware of how unique our life is. So the answers won't apply to everyone always. The the capital T truths in some people's life might not be so T true in other people's life. So take all the data that you can and try to incorporate it as best you can, and reach out to people that you respect, that you want to be like, and ask them for some advice. And slowly but surely get to a point where you can really nail down the things that you want to do every day and do them. And I honestly say this, like, not in a condescending way. I want you to live a beautiful life. I want you to experience how awesome it is to actually have faith in yourself, to have some self-respect, to have a lot of self-respect even, you know? Love yourself. Maybe check out this video. Talks a little bit more about the important things, the little things that make our character. And remember, my friend, actualize your potential. This world needs you. And control gets you there. Take care.